Hi, I'm Kelly from kellyjjewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this huge tree pendant. Well, it's, as you can see, it's quite a long one, so this will be the beginning of part one. I have had to split it into two because it's so long. So yeah, this is part one. Grab your stuff and let's get started. To make this tree pendant, I'm using this oval stone today. This is a coffee jasper. It's quite cute. And it's 40 by 20 millimeters, so you can use anything that kind of size, so anything similar, that kind of size and shape is ideal. I'm using 0.25 millimeter weaving wire for the actual tree, so it's a little bit thinner. That's 30 gauge, and I've got 30 lengths at 7 inches, which is 18 centimeters. And I'm also using a different size weaving wire, which is 0.315 28 gauge for the rest of it. So I've wound some on there, and I'll put the actual measurement on the screen because I don't know how much I'm going to have left, so I've guessed. So you can use the same size of weaving wire if you want to. I just opted for something a bit thinner for the tree. Honestly, you can do anything you want. It's really versatile, this one is. So I've got 1.2 millimeter for the frame. You can go up or down a step on any of these sizes and gauges. So that's 16 gauge, and I've cut one length at 9 inches, which is 23 centimeters, and 0.8 millimeter wire, which is 20 gauge, so that's for your base wires. I've cut two lengths at 14 inches, which is 36 centimeters, and one length at 18 inches, which is 46 centimeters. Is that right? 36, 46, yeah. I'm going to be using a few small beads, but I'm not sure yet, so I'll put those on the screen too. And you'll need a little jump ring for the top. Any kind of size will do, roughly about 8 millimeters. If you want to make your own, you can use the 1.2 millimeter wire, just wrap it around your bail pliers. So tools, I've got my pliers, my round nose pliers, my cutters, and my nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just like having these handy for straightening the wires and flattening the weaves. All my tools are Tronex. I know Tronex are a little bit more pricey, but they last, so it's worth getting some. I've had mine for absolutely years and they're still going strong. I'm not sponsored by Tronex whatsoever. So let's start with our frame. If you take your, cut your wires to the length that I have, take your frame wire, find the centre, and we're going to bend it. We're going to bend it into a loop. And this loop is going to sit at the top of the stone there, so your jump ring is going to go through that loop. So then the wire is going to come around, and we want it to be just a little bit bigger than the stone. So take your time with that shape. We want the other side to come around as well. Kind of keep looking at your stone and match up the size. So you want about that kind of shape. So the wire goes around your stone and you got that nice little loop there. I've just thought we're going to need some half round wire for the frame bars. I forgot about wires meet. We're going to take them up. Kind of lost that shape again. Super springy wire today. So where your wires meet there, we need to attach them together. So we're going to keep that shape. So I'm going to use a bit of weaving wire. If you wrap a few times around one of those frame wire ends, and then bring it down to where the wires meet, wrap around the whole thing. About 7 times, was that 7? Then we wrap around the single side, single wire. Cut that wire off at both ends. So you're going to need a little 1.2 half round or 1.5. What gauge would that be? So 1.2 is 16 and 1.5 is 14. So you just need some thicker gauge half round, so we can just put some frame bars in there. So I finally found a bit of 1.5mm half round, and I've cut 2 lengths at 2 inches just to do some little frame bars to go across to support the stone. So we'll fit one here. Just bend the end around. And then squeeze that around. Get it nice and straight. And send the other end around too. Grace is tucked right underneath my chair if you can hear her snoring. I'll press that one around. Risen up a little bit. I'm going to pull it down. But yeah, that's the idea. You just attach it by wrapping around the sides. Squeeze it until it's nice and flat. Come wrap it around again if you want to. Cut off the asbestos. Use old cutters on the thicker wire. The second bar will fit a little bit further down. Try and get them nice and tight so they don't move around. So that's those 2 bars fitted. It's actually going to go this way. No, it isn't. Is it? Yes, it's actually going to go this way up. Oh dear, having one of those funny turns. If you've got sharp bits from your wires that you've cut, you can sand those down. You can use either a nail buffer, which is what I've got, or you can use like sandpaper and just get those sharp bits off. So then we're going to just get a little bit creative on these end bits. I want a big one and a slightly smaller one. So you cut them to any size you like. Mine are, shall we go from the middle of those weaves, 1.5 and about 2, roughly. With bail pliers, which I forgot to mention at the beginning, because I always use bail pliers to shape the thicker wire, and these are Beadsmith bail pliers, so they're not very expensive. They're quite cheap to buy if you want to have a look. I'm just going to bend this wire around. I'm just going to bend it around quite a large, and I think we'll do quite a large, as if it was like a huge jump ring that's just going to meet, just like that. And then this one's going to be a lot smaller. I'm going to do like a little curl on this side. Just as long as you close them up so they don't catch on anything, they should be fine. So just closing up the rings there. So next I'm going to make the actual tree. So cut some lengths of wire. So I've cut 30 lengths of the thinner weaving wire. So this is 0.25mm, which is 30 gauge, and I've cut 30 lengths at 7 inches. What I'm going to do is kind of grab, this is the end, the kind of end of them, and I'm going along just a little bit. Let's have a measure. 1.5 inches to about 2 inches roughly, and I'm going to twist all those wires together. So this is the middle of the tree. I'm going to shape it and then I'm going to attach it. So we get to have a play around with the shape, and I'm really letting it twist and buckle as I'm twisting it up. Do you know what I mean? So if we look at the bottom first, so this is going to be the roots. So I'm going to split them into two. Little twist. And then I'm going to split them again. Of course this is a tree, so it's completely random. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. The general idea is split them up and give them a twist. So what I'm going to do is just roughly spread them out, twist them up, and then I'm going to compare them to the stone, and we may have to adjust just so they fit within that space. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've got some roots. If the stone was in place, so this is going to go at the bottom there, that's how it would sit. So you need to have all your wires all separating within that space there, so that's fine. And then I'm going to start separating them for the top. So I've separated them in half. I'm going to give those a little twist. And what you can do now is just keep separating them out and taking some off every now and then and twisting those up too. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm going to separate these and twist those a little bit. And I'm going to separate those. So it's completely random, we're just separating and splitting up the tree. So just keep twisting and splitting them up, and then when you've split them up as much as you can, then separate them out into single little branches. And then we need to compare that shape with the size of the stone again, so we can get the parameter right. So if my roots are at the bottom, yeah, that's fine, because you don't want the shaping to go over the edge as such. So yeah, keep separating those branches. So I've shaped a kind of tree shape. This is my bark in the middle, the main trunk. And then I've got the roots at the bottom and the branches coming out. 2 single branches at the edges. You need to make sure that's going to fit on there. So my roots will be along the bottom. I'll have the tree in the middle. And I've really let the tree buckle as I was twisting it. But we'll shape it more in a minute after we've attached it to everything. So first I'm going to attach all these roots down. I don't usually use tape, but I think I'm going to this time just to hold it all down. So I've just got a little bit of paper tape. So I'm getting the stone in place. I'm just wrapping the top around roughly for now, and I am going to attach all those wires in a bit, not just yet. So I'm just going to wrap that around just to hold that down while I attach the roots. Now, I don't want these getting mixed up with the roots. So you can hear Gracie snoring ever so loud. So we spread the roots out how we want them to attach. We can attach them singly or we can attach them in groups. And what you do is you take each wire and you just take the end around the frame. Yep, sounds a bit tedious and a little bit long-winded, but it is. Making trees is tedious and a bit long-winded. Put some nice music on, get yourself a coffee. It can be quite relaxing. It's like weaving, I suppose. You can really take your time and just play. So attach all your wires around. I'm wrapping that one like 3 times. And then the next one I might do a bunch. There's a bunch there. I think I'm going to take that bunch and I'll wrap the bunch around. Do you know what I mean? And just take your time and attach all your roots around to both sides of the frame there. So I've attached all of my roots there. So now I need to attach the top too. So I need to get this tape off. So I've got the tape off. Now I just need to go around and attach all these branches. So I'm spreading them out. It's best if they join in single wires at the ends. It doesn't matter if they cross over. So I'm going to attach all those wires down. One at a time, wrap each wire a good 3 times or more if you've got the space. So I've attached all those branches in. It's actually come out really nice. I don't normally separate the tree in the middle, but I thought I'd do that instead. And I normally have the trunk coming up the side, so I thought I'd have it more central. So now we need to get rid of all these wires. So make sure you've wrapped them around enough. I'll give them a little tug and cut them so they're on the inside. I mean, we're going to put loads of weaving over them anyway, but we're going to cut them so that they finish sort of on the inside. And then go around with your pliers and just press those cut ends around the frame. So it's all pressed down, and do that all the way around. So I've cut all those bits off and I've tried to press them all down. I may have missed a little few. So now it's time to shape. So what I'm going to do, I'll start at the bottom. We take each single bit. Hold on, make sure my stone's nice and straight. And we twist it. And just twist it and shape it. And then go to the next bit. Twist it. Twist the next bit. So you're kind of picking out bits and twisting it because it's quite straight at the minute. We want to give it some shape. And you can twist the big bits as well. So that's the roots done. That's the main branches done, and now I'm just gonna twist and shape all the smaller bits. So press it all close against the stone, and that's my tree in place, and I'm really happy how it came out. I normally do really thin trees. I thought I'd do extra wires this time. Oh, I've got some extra bits here. I've changed my mind on the wire lengths for the base wires. I would, instead of cutting the lengths that I said, go for 3 times 18 inches, and we'll start with 2 of those. So get 2 of your 18 inches is about 46 centimeters. Find the center of those wires, and we'll start weaving just to the left of your thumb. So if you've positioned your thumb centrally, we'll start just to the left of your thumb. So reel off about 20 inches of weaving wire. So you've got 20 inches, 20 inch length to the left, and we'll wrap 3 times around the bottom wire. I know it's awkward working with these longer lengths. And then 3 times around the 2 wires. So we'll do that 10 times to start with. And as you do in the weave, keep pressing it together as you go. So we got a bit carried away and I did 11. So then we're going to bend that weave into a loop. We want the bottom of the loop to meet. So make sure your weave is really pushed together, and you just want the ends of the weaves to meet there. And we're going to position that here, so it's going in the middle of the 2 loops of the tree. Yeah, so this is your tree, turn it upside down, and this is going to attach here in between those 2 loops. So now take the weaving wire that's cut, so the longer piece that's not on the bobbin, brain's gone. So we're taking the piece that we cut earlier, I can't remember how many inches it was now, was it 20 inches? And we're going to go around the middle. So we're tying the whole thing, we're tying the 2 weaves together, and we're tying it to the middle section of those 2 wires. So we go through the one, come back up through the other one, and then we're going to go back through there. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're strapping the weave down to that middle section, and we'll go around 3 times and see how strong it is. So we've gone around 3 times. Pull it nice and tight, and to secure this wire and to secure these wraps in place, we'll do a few repeats along these wires. So that's like the beginning of the weave, just do a couple of repeats just to hold all that in place. So I turned it around and I've just done a few repeats along here. So that's 3 wraps around the top wire and 3 wraps around 2 wires. So I'm kind of carrying that on up there, and I'm going to leave that for now and go back to the other side. So turn it around. So going back to this side. Which one's that? This wire. So back onto my bobbin wire. So what we're going to do now, we're going to carry on the weave along these 2 wires. Same weave, 3 wraps around the bottom wire, 3 wraps around 2 wires, and we're going to do 6 repeats of that weave. So we've got 6 repeats of that weave. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this around again. So we're doing a little loop next to the big loop, and it's so hard to do it so close with these big long wires. And show you what I'm doing right. The little one next to it. There we go. Little loop. Quite cute. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be quite nice and tiny. So now we're going to continue to add repeats along this weave, and we're going to follow the edge of the frame. As we get so far, we're then going to stop and cut off the bobbin and attach to the frame so it holds it down. So add repeats now until you've got like halfway along the frame of the same weave. I've done a few repeats on that weave. Make sure the middle is nice and central. And then we're going to bring the, hold on, where's central? Central would be like this, so I've got to pull it out a bit. That's it. And then we're going to shape it around the frame. So I have actually gone past the middle point. We're just going to attach it down. So I'm going to cut the bobbin off and attach it by going the 3 wraps around the 2 wires. I'm going to go around the frame as well, and then carry on weaving until you reach to the top there. So I'm going to leave, I just need to do that little bit of weave, so I leave about 12 inches of wire, and then we can reattach a longer piece. If I go around the whole thing, you can probably hear our Gracie making loads of noise. So I know it's time consuming, but it's worth strapping it down in place and getting it all nice. Hold it where you want it to be while you attach it. I'll go 3 times around the whole thing. So I've reached the top of my weave. That's my join there. Then I just carried on with the same weave. Keep pushing the weave together as you go. Stop when you get to the top of that loop there, and we're going to send the ends through the loop. Give that a squeeze. So now we've got the 2 wires. Take the bottom wire and take it around again. Just the bottom wire. This is just to secure it. We don't need to send them both around again. So as this one comes around, it is now right next to the other one. And I'll straighten that wire too. So the wires are now next to each other. Make sure this weave hasn't ridden up and it's nice and low down. You can squeeze the wire around a bit tighter to try and hold it down in place. Carry on weaving. I'm going to cut off this wire because it's short and add the long wire from the bobbin back on. So weaving across those two wires still, so we're still working across the same two. Take your weaving wire and we'll go 3 wraps around the top wire. Slide that right the way down. 3 wraps around both wires. So we're going to do quite a bit of this weave now. We're going to do a little loop and then we're going to go all the way down. We're going to do a loop and then we're going to weave all the way down to like halfway. So we're going to need about 20 repeats or something like that. Let's start with 10 and then we can add from there. By the way, please mention me, Kelly Jones Design, when making work from my tutorials. Please don't show in progress or images of the back, as this gives all my little secrets away, all my little design secrets. Really appreciate you mentioning me online, and it really helps build my YouTube channel. If you would like to come and support me, I've now got a Patreon account. I'll put all the details of that in the description. Thank you to all my patrons for supporting me. I really appreciate all you guys, I really do. I couldn't be doing this without you. So thanks for all your help, all your support. And on Facebook too, all your lovely comments and everybody sharing everything they make of my things. I absolutely love it. 10 repeats of that weave. And we're going to bend it over the loop. So we're going to come all the way over. Come around. Ouch! Got me. So we now sit here. So we've got like a nice swirl on that side of the loop. So now we're going to keep adding repeats to that weave. Now we need to get down halfway. So I'm kind of halfway, maybe a little bit more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it in. So we've come over the loop, scooped out, and now we're scooping in. And when we get to here, I'm going to take the weaving wire, I'm going to wrap around the frame so it's just holding it in place there. I need to cut off that little bit that jabbed me earlier before it gets me again. Little monkey. Decided to attach it using the base wire instead of the weaving wire. So I'm going to take the inner wire. I'm going to leave that for a moment. I'm going to take the bottom of the 2 base wires and I'm going to post that through. Which way shall I go? I'll go through the middle there, straight through the frame too. So I've gone next to the stone. Pull that through. And as you pull it through, you've got to reshape this weave, pull the weave back in place. It's about there. And then this comes back to the front there. So we're going to carry on going down. So this wire now, I'm going to bring it around and I'm going to pop a little bead on it. Find one. So I've got a 3mm bead. So I've got a 3mm bead. And I'm going to bend that wire around. So we just got a little bend with the wire and the bead on it. And then those two wires come back together. I want them going in, I want them coming out. So this wire that comes around, give that a squeeze. So you squeeze it around the frame, and then I'm going to bend it, if I can grab it, out. And then this wire goes out too. So both the wires come out. I just want to follow around. Hold on, no I don't. We'll exaggerate the shape, I think. Looking at it the right way up, this little wire comes around, it's got a bead on it, and then when it comes down, we'll go this side of that wire. I've bent that wire out so that these wires will come out, and then I shall scoop them back in towards the bottom. So now we're going to continue. I can still feel a sharp bit, it's still trying to get me. Continue with a weave along these two wires, and because we're going to scoop it in, I'd like to go 3 wraps around the bottom wire, which is this one with the loop, and 3 wraps around the both wires. And we need enough repeats to be able to reach back around to the weave around. I've only got 4 repeats here, and then I'm going to part the wires. My inner wire is going to aim for the base of the loop, and my outer wire is going to just aim a little bit wider. And we're going to do like a bail weave across these 2 wires. We're going to repeat this later on because I want to do a couple of these weaves on the other side as well. So you wrap twice around either of the wires, the top wire, come over the middle and wrap twice around the other wire, the bottom wire, and that's our repeat. So try not to pull the wires together as you go. We go over the middle, you're going over the top wire, you wrap around twice, and you must keep pushing it down as you go. Is that in focus? Then you come over the bottom wire and you wrap around twice, pushing it down as you go. And you keep pushing it down on both sides as you go, and don't pull those wires together. Keep repeating that. Weave until you reach like about here. So I've repeated that weave. I did a little bit too much and I had to undo a few. You want it to come just to below that little woven loop there. And we'll finish with a few wraps around the bottom wire, or whichever wire you've ended up on. Cut that wire and press the little end down. It's quite a long one this time. I might have to split this into 2 parts. So we're going to take the bottom, we're going to take the weave and we're going to finish it here. So what's the best way to do this? We need this bottom wire to come underneath. So I'm going to pull it back here carefully, and I'm going to post that wire, this is the back wire, in between the weave and the frame there, so it's coming up on the front of the tree. So it's coming up on the front of the tree. And as I pull that through, very carefully, trying not to miss shape that weave there. So this comes to the front, that goes to the back. So I want it to be shaped like that. Do you get me? And this wire, the back one, can come around the front of that weave there. So it's just wrapping around the weave, and I'm taking it around the weave again, and then I'll press that around in place, so that's finished. Careful not to misshape this lovely weave here. So this wire then comes around and follows the little loop. It's all the way around to the back there, following that little loop, and I shall finish that wire around the frame there at the back. My values gone, and that wire will go through there. So pulling it through, taking care not to misshape that wire. I just want it to follow, and then at the back finish it wherever you can. So I'm actually going to pull it up, I'm going to wrap around the frame there, slowly taking it shorter and shorter, holding the wire at the other end in place. Keep checking that it hasn't moved, because it does. Whenever you adjust something on the back, it always seems to move on the front. So that's what we've got so far. And I think this video is going to have to be done in a few parts. So if I do end the first part here, I must thank you all for watching. Please join me for part 2 and we'll finish it off. So thanks for watching. This is end of part 1, and I will put a link below and on the screen for part 2. So jump straight in if you can, if you have the time, and we'll finish off all those weaves. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.